All right, let's get right into it, because this isn't just some dry tech story. This is a real-life cybersecurity thriller, a genuine cautionary tale about the hack that almost, and I mean almost, broke the entire internet.
And no, that is not an exaggeration. For a short time, the digital world that we all depend on for literally everything was teetering on the edge of a cliff. And the scariest part, nobody even knew.
So what kind of disaster are we talking about here? This wasn't just, a website going offline or a simple data breach. No. This was aimed right at the foundations of our digital world.
We are talking about the absolute pillars of modern society, the core systems that handle our money, protect national security, run global corporations, and, connect every single one of us. The threat was aimed directly at the heart of the internet's most secure and critical infrastructure.
So you have to be asking, how could a threat this huge just go completely unnoticed? Well, that's because the weapon wasn't a bomb or some flashy virus you'd seen in a movie. It was something way more subtle, something hidden deep inside the very engine of the internet.
So, to really get this, you first need to know about Linux. It's kind of the quiet, unsung hero of the internet. It's the operating system that powers the vast majority of servers out there. Think of it like the invisible foundation that almost everything is built on. So yeah, if you can control Linux, you can basically control the internet.
And if Linux is the foundation, then SSH is the master key to every single door in the building. It's the secure protocol that system admins use to log in and manage all those servers from anywhere on the world. Its entire existence is built on trust and rock-solid encryption.
And this is where the sheer genius and terror of this attack comes in. The attacker didn't try to smash down the front door of SSH. That'd be too loud, too obvious. Instead, they hid a secret backdoor inside a seemingly harmless, even boring little tool, a data compression utility called XZ Utils. Think of it like a .zip program for Linux. And because so many other programs, including SSH, depend on this utility, the backdoor gave the attacker access to tamper with data before it got secured.
This brings us to the attacker. This was not a brute force hack. It was a masterpiece of deception. A long con carried out by a single shadowy figure.
And the strategy here was just incredible patience. The attacker, using the name Jia Tan, played the long game. We're talking years. For years, they built up a reputation as a helpful, reliable developer in the open source community. They gained trust, they took on more responsibility, and they just waited until they were in the perfect position to strike, hiding their malicious code in plain sight within an official software update.
Let's be really clear about this. This was no random act. This was a meticulously planned social engineering operation, years in the making, all centered around this totally fabricated online persona.
So after all those years of careful planning, the backdoor was finally in place, ready to be deployed across the entire globe. How on earth was it stopped? Well, the answer is, it's almost too wild to be true.
That's right. Not by some advanced AI security system, not by a government agency, but by pure dumb luck. One of the most sophisticated cyber attacks ever conceived was completely unraveled by accident.
Half a second. That's it. That was the tiny, infinitesimal margin that stood between a functioning global internet and an absolute catastrophe. So get this. The attacker, for all their brilliance, made one tiny mistake. Their malicious code created a half-second delay when someone tried to log in using SSH. It's a delay so small most of us would never even notice it. But one developer, just one person, noticed it and thought, that's a little odd. And that tiny flicker of curiosity is what unraveled the entire plot.
So the crisis was averted, but the incident forced a really serious and frankly uncomfortable conversation about the very nature of the software that runs our world. You see, this whole thing exposed a fundamental paradox at the heart of open source software. On the one hand, its greatest strength is that with more eyes on the code, flaws and bugs get found faster, which is exactly what happened here. But on the other hand, the reality is that many of these absolutely critical projects are maintained by just one or two unpaid volunteers, which makes them prime targets for exactly this kind of manipulation. And that's really the heart of the issue, isn't it? A huge piece of our global infrastructure was basically resting on the shoulders of a single volunteer, a volunteer who was manipulated and pressured by the attacker over several years. It's a massive systemic risk that we had all just completely overlooked.
So what do we learn from all this? Well, for one, the internet is way more fragile than we like to admit. 2, patient human deception can be far more dangerous than any brute force hack. And 3, sometimes the world isn't saved by a superhero in a cape, but by one curious person who just notices something is a little bit off. It proves the open source model has amazing strengths, but also some very real hidden dangers.
And that brings us to the final, unsettling question this whole affair leaves us with. They found this one by accident. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What else is out there, just hiding, waiting for its moment?